Okay, sorry, this is just a, this is a, this is a banger soundtrack. It is, the Subnautica soundtrack. It is banger, I love it so much. This is something with the reef back. I also need to get to play that. Shadow of the Reef back, it's called. I really need to get that as well. There is so many games I want to play, but my computer, I do not have the money, and my computer is not good for that. This is sad. I am not really wearing much. I'm just wearing a dress. It's very warm outside today. I mean, we are nearing, summer, so it's kind of obvious, you know? But we're back with the face cam. It has been 2 weeks since I was sick, and I feel actually better now. I don't need to blow my nose all the time. And for those who might have watched my stream from 2 days ago, from Saturday, I am so incredibly sorry. Because the sound worked for me. And it even said here in my mixer that sound was being recorded. Sound was being picked up both from the computer and from my mic. So I was just super confused as to why it didn't actually send out the sound to you guys on that particular scene. And I am so incredibly sorry. I really am. I love that video. Maybe I should actually... See, my sister borrowed I forgot what it's called. Speaker! Oh my god. Why did that word just completely evaporate from my brain? But yeah, I usually have a speaker next to my face cam to like steady it. And she kind of borrowed that. So I don't really have it right now. So if it suddenly goes RIP, then that's why. But yeah, I shattered my back today because I have been sitting for 4 hours gay and just crocheting. And like, I enjoy doing it. It's actually really fun. I get to challenge myself, like, how far can I get before I have to go home and everything. And I get to listen to music as well, and there's basically no people around me, so I'm just in my own little headspace crocheting. And that's fun. I only learned to crochet like not even a week ago. And I've already crocheted 2 pencil cases, and I'm currently almost halfway done with a small bag. So it is fun. Just a little chit chat before we get into reading, because if you've watched me if you know who I am, if you've watched me before, you know that I always wait 10 minutes before going into reading. I don't know why I do it, I just do. I don't know why. But I remembered my water today. Ow. Sorry, my wand was lying here. Yes, I have a wand. I'm a nerd, I know. I literally wore my Ravenclaw shirt today. So. Oh, this is such nice music. for them otherwise. Oh. Maybe I should actually turn my mic up. There we go. Because I tried to record me singing here the other day. You can imagine how that went. It went terribly because I hate the sound of my voice. So yeah. But anyway, remember, you know, if you're new here, please follow. It would help me out a great deal. But also, remember, like, don't feel scared to talk and chat. You know, talk to me, ask me questions, light-hearted questions, obviously not like deep questions, because then I just go .exe. But you can ask questions about the book I'm reading. You can talk to each other about the book, what's happening and all that. Remember, don't feel scared to do it, but also lurking is totally fine. I lurk all the time as well, so don't worry. But yeah, we are almost done with this book, actually. Winter Turning. Wait, you can... It's literally that. That's the cover. I was showing it to camera, but I forgot I have the cover here as well. So yeah. But yeah, we only have today and tomorrow left to read this. And then we're done with this book, which is incredible. 5 streams. I remember the very first book, that was like 7 streams. That took 7 streams. And then it slowly got down to 6, and then now 5 apparently. Because last book and this book is taking 5 streams instead of 6. Or 7. But the chapters have been longer. I must admit. They have been longer. And everything. So yeah. Oh yeah. I will not keep you any longer. I will start reading now. Also, maybe also, you just tell me if the music is too loud and everything, or if it's too low, or if I'm too loud, or you can't hear me. Actually, I need to check here if the sound is actually on, otherwise I've just been sitting and talking to myself and you can't hear me. Can you hear me? You can hear me, alright. Awesome. Sorry, just had to check after the blunder of Saturday. I just needed to make sure that you could actually hear me. Anyway. Oh, I love the Undertale soundtrack. Anyway, chapter 16. Maybe we should actually not do the Undertale music. Because this is getting quite serious and everything. So, one sec. Alright. No, don't. Ficking. Okay. So we have Slime Rancher and Subnautica. maybe Slime Ranch is a bit too happy, if you will. Also, I just noticed we are almost at 500 views, like what is that called? Channel views. That is actually pretty far. I did not expect 500 people to find my little nugget Twitch. But yeah. You know what? We're going to take the Subnautica. Yeah. Subnautica is... I'd say Subnautica soundtrack is much better for this atmosphere. For the atmosphere. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I can't talk apparently. Yeah. Chapter 16. Hailstorm? Winter whispered. But how? You were a Skywing. I saw you. How did you... What happened to the throne room? Hailstorm asked, his voice getting stronger. And what have you been eating to get so big? He stopped, swaying in place and rubbing his eyes. Wait, I have to find the queen. Why are my scales the wrong color? He held out his talons and then recoiled from them with an expression of terror. What have you done to me? Why am I so cold? He seized Winter's front grip. Why is it so difficult for me to read all of a sudden? Sorry. He seized Winter's front claws in a grip that sent shock waves of desperation along Winter's arms. Who am I? Hailstorm demanded. You're my brother, Winter said. That was clear. That was true. They could deal with spells and lingering side effects later. He leaned into Hailstorm's grasp, locking their eyes together. And we have to get you out of here before Scarlet finds you. Queen Scarlet, Hailstorm corrected automatically. She wouldn't hurt me. I am completely His face twisted, horror warring with despair and confusion. What am I saying? Winter, what am I saying? We'll fix it, but right now we have to fly, Winter said. Quibbly darted across the clearing and said something to Moon. She immediately slid her talons under Kinkajou and tried to hoist the Rainwing onto Quibbly's back, struggling as Kinkajou's tail flopped sideways and overbalanced her. The unconscious dragon's wings whapped Moon in the face, and her head lolled awkwardly on her long neck. Winter took a step toward them, but Hailstorm wouldn't let go of him. Are you real? The tall Icewing asked. Is any of this real? Hailstorm, snap out of it! Winter barked. We need to help my friends and get out of here. Friends? Friends? Hailstorm echoed. He squinted over at the tangle of dragons on the edge of the dying firelight. But Winter, I think there's a Nightwing over there. Winter's guilt came slamming back through him, along with a second wave of guilt that came from remembering how much Moon had done to help him. She's on our side. She's helping me rescue you. Hailstorm, move! He finally got his claws free and ran over to the others. He reached Moon's side in time to catch Kinkajou as she slid sideways off the Sandwing. Quibbly had his teeth gritted and his eyes closed. His legs bowed under her weight. Kinkajou was small, but not that much smaller than Quibbly, who was wiry and narrow-shouldered. Winter couldn't imagine how the Sandwing could even take off with her on top of him, let alone keep up a breakneck escape pace. and Winter couldn't do it either. He was broader than Quibbly, but not any bigger. But, oh yeah, I forgot I do this when it's him thinking. But what's the alternative? Leave her here? He was astonished to find that he couldn't even consider that possibility. He wouldn't abandon her, not even to save Hailstorm. He could feel his brother watching him, the needles of centuries of Icewing judgment pricking along his spine. We need someone as big as Clay, Moon said ruefully, resting Kinkachu's head in the crook of her shoulder and wing. Hailstorm might be big enough, but he's too confused, and he has no love for Rainwings, either as Pyrite or as himself. I don't know what he might do with her mid-flight. If only Quibbly and I could carry her together. Winter darted over to the trees, leaped up and wrenched the canopy loose from the trunk it was bound to. The weave of branches and vines was thick enough to keep out rain. If they were lucky, it would be strong enough to hold Kinkachu. He spread it out to beside Moon, who understood without words what he was doing. Awkwardly, they shifted Kinkachu onto the makeshift stretcher, curling her tail close around her body and tucking in her wings. There was no sign of life from her as they did this, although Winter thought he could feel a pulse in the palm of her talons. The pouch was still crushed in his claw. He needed to look at it more closely, but not right now. And he wasn't about to risk wearing it after seeing what it did to Hailstorm. Carefully, he tucked it beside Kinkachu, snagging the chain securely around several branches. Quibbly took one side of the canopy in his front talons. Winter reached for the other, but Moon interceded. "I'll do it," she said. "You take care of your brother." She hooked her claws in the web of branches and nodded at Quibbly. Beating their wings together, they lifted up into the air, wobbling and lopsided for a moment. Winter jumped up to catch Kinkachu in case they dropped her, but they righted themselves and flew higher, their wings finding the same rhythm. They shot up into the clouds as the rain began cascading down harder and harder. Winter ran back over to Hailstorm. "Fly!" he shouted. "Follow me!" Maybe I should wait here for Queen Scarlet," Hailstorm said uncertainly. "She could probably explain what's happening to my head." "No!" Winter shouted. He shook his wings furiously, which did not help dry him off at all. "She is the enemy! Come on!" He couldn't believe Scarlet wasn't here already. How long could it take the Nightwing to fly back to get her? Even with his face burned and frostbitten? Maybe he'd gotten lost, unable to see. But Scarlet would have still heard the noise of the battle. She could be flying down to investigate right now. He launched himself into the air, and to his relief, Hailstorm only hesitated a moment before following. The rain smashed down on them, harder and harder. Winter wished it was snow instead. He tried imagining the drops as light, flurry flakes of comforting snow, but it didn't help. Lightning flashed overhead, and he caught a glimpse of the odd flapping shape that was Quibbly and Moon and the snagging canopy. They were flying west, hopefully out of the mountains and toward the Kingdom of Sand. And beyond that, the Ice Kingdom, Winter thought. He glanced sideways at Hailstorm, now keeping up with long, powerful strokes of his wings. "I did it! I found him! I can take him home!" He looked forward again, and the dragons winging their way over the mountain range, and felt a strange stabbing feeling in his chest. Home, where none of my friends can go. Where I must be. I mean, where I can be a true Icewing once again. Oh. Yikes, he's having a crisis. They flew without stopping for the rest of the night. Winter and Hailstorm soon caught up to the others and then slowed to match their speed, although Hailstorm gave Winter a puzzled look as he did. After a while, Winter moved in to take the canopy from Moon, and she let him. A short time after that, she took it from Quibbly, and the three of them traded off turns silently for hours, saving their breath for flying. Hailstorm did not offer to help, but he stayed with them to Winter's relief. Finally, they flew out of the edge of the storm, straight into a cool grey morning somewhere in the borderlands between the Sky Kingdom and the Kingdom of Sand. The mountains were behind them, and the sun had not yet climbed high enough to make it past the peaks. But everything was lit in that barely dawn, colorless way that makes your eyes tired. A small herd of springboks turned graceful, antlered heads to the sky, spotted the dragons, and bounded instantly away, their white tails flickering as they fled south. "We can rest in the river," Quibbly called. "Almost there." Winter hefted his side of the sling, trying to adjust his aching talons. The entire front half of his body felt numb, as though he had turned to stone and someone had decided to hang a rain wing off his petrified arms. His head was fuzzy with exhaustion. Soon he saw the great Five-Tailed River ahead of them, a vast green-brown blue vein stretching from the desert to the delta. According to the history scrolls, this was the most disputed piece of territory in all of Pyria, as the Skywings and Sandwings had fought over ownership of the river for centuries. Winter wondered if Byrne had promised it to the Skywings in exchange for their alliance in the War of Sandwing Succession. He wondered if it was only a matter of time before Queen Ruby and Queen Thorn resumed the battle that had raged for so long. But for now, the banks of the river were peaceful. Near the delta, a Sandwing settlement on the west side had slowly merged with the Skywing village on the east over the last 20 years, so that now red and orange and sandy yellow wings dotted the sky and the streets side by side. A wide, white stone bridge had been built across the river, lined with shops where dragons traded and bartered all day. Winter knew this from reports he'd heard in the throne room. Icewing Reconnaissance had kept a close eye on the tentative peace that was forged between Byrne and Scarlet. Would it last beyond the war? Where would that leave the Icewings? The next border where the Sandwings might look for new territory? But he had only ever flown over the great river. He'd only seen the growing town from a distance. Now, seeing it take shape ahead of them, he realized that was Quibbly's destination. Winter had expected to stop in a clump of trees somewhere, but the Sandwing was clearly leading them to the town itself. "Wait!" he said, and Quibbly immediately circled back to take Kinkaju's stretcher from him. Winter shook out his talons, feeling the blood slowly tingling back into motion. "Where are you taking us? Shouldn't we hide somewhere?" He gestured to the wild landscape below them, the sand dotted with palm trees that stretched away south, the muddier banks farther north, the thicker greenery near the town and the delta. There was something about bringing Hailstorm into a crowded settlement that made him nervous. "Possibility is the best place to hide," Quibbly argued. "There are hundreds of dragons there, from all the tribes these days. We'll blend right in, and Scarlet won't dare show her face in the town with so many of Ruby's dragons patrolling the streets. Besides, Kinkaju needs a doctor." A As usual, Quickly's 9,000 very good points were impossible to counter. Winter glanced at Kinkachi's still white face and nodded. The town is called Possibility? Moon asked. Her voice was strained, but when Winter reached for her side of the canopy, she flicked her wing at him. No, take a longer break, she said. I can handle it for another few minutes. When the two sides merged, neither wanted to take the other's original name, Quickly said. This was about 7 years ago. They talked and disagreed and talked some more, throwing around names like Hope, Peace, and Union. But finally, they put it to a vote, and the majority of the citizens chose Possibility. I like that, Moon said. The possibility of hope and peace. But it's not guaranteed. They still have to work for it. You know someone here? Winter asked Quibbly. A lot of someones, Quibbly said. I met practically the whole Sandwing tribe after Thorn became queen, as everyone came to pay tribute, and to see if they could support her as queen. Which they can and do, of course, because she is amazing. Anyway, several of them were from Possibility. I just have to find one who can help us. They flew down to land on one of the islands in the river as the sun clambered over the peaks, scattering warm yellow light that outlined the palm trees in gold. A hippo was planted in the mud on the island's shore. It gave the dragons a resigned look as they landed, like, fine, go ahead and eat me. I knew it would happen eventually. Damn, hippos! But they were all too tired to kill anything, and after a moment, the hippo splashed loudly into the river and submerged, probably congratulating itself on its impressive stealth. Moon climbed onto the canopy as soon as it was spread out on the ground. She picked up Kinkachi's talons, trying to rub warmth into them. I'll be back as soon as I can, Quibbly promised. He darted off to the bridge, not far away, where merchants were already unrolling carpets and setting out trays of food that exhaled clouds of steam. Winter could see Quibbly in the gaps between the stalls, pacing along the length of the bridge and speaking to dragons here and there. This is weird, Hailstorm said behind Winter. All those dragons from different tribes, just acting like it's totally normal to be together. Not as weird as you bonding with your strange little trio, though. Winter turned to look at his older brother, although it wasn't as far off as he used to be. Hailstorm looked so exactly like he had the day he'd been captured. There were no new scars, no signs of starvation or beating or anything Winter would have expected him to go through in the Skywing prison. But then, if Hailstorm hadn't been himself all this time... What do you remember about being Scarlet's prisoner? Winter asked. Hailstorm shook his head. I was never her prisoner, he said. I've been a loyal soldier to her for... I thought it was my whole life, but now all my memories of being a Skywing Dragonet are fading. I think I hatched as an Ice Wing. You did, Winter said. You're my brother, Hailstorm. You've always been an Ice Wing. Hailstorm shuddered in a big, bone-racking way. But I know I've been fighting for Queen Scarlet in the war, he said. I remember bowing to her, worshipping her. I killed Ice Wings for her. He drew his wings in closer and clenched his talons. Or was it a dream? Maybe I'm still myself and I'm only hallucinating memories of being an Ice Wing. With trepidation, he held out his claws, saw that they were still white, and slammed his eyes shut. Winter's veins felt as if they were iced over and cracking, bits of him splintering off inside his body. Hailstorm looked the same, but inside He was nothing like the brother Winter remembered. This lost dragon, torn in two, who had killed some of his own tribe in service to a queen he hated. It was worse than all the things Winter had imagined Scarlet doing to him. Hailstorm, focus! Winter said, flicking his brother's tail. If he treated him like their parents did, sharp and demanding, maybe Hailstorm's real personality would come back. You are my brother, Hailstorm. You were under some kind of enchantment, but you're back. Just forget about Pyrite and be you again. But which me? Hailstorm protested. I look at that river and think, I can't swim. But I remember diving into dark green oceans studded with drifting pieces of ice. I look at my claws and think I'm clumsy and useless. But I remember winning every competition. I remember being at the top of the rankings. I feel like the air is too warm, and I think I can't wait to go home and roll in snow. But I imagine being surrounded by ice wings, and I immediately want to kill them all to protect my queen. He made a noise of despair and pressed his forehead as though he were trying to keep his brain from spilling out. Winter exchanged a glance with Moon, who looked as horrified as he felt. Was it even safe to bring Hailstorm back to the Ice Kingdom? Had he been too badly damaged by living as a Skywing for so long? Would he ever truly be Winter's brother again? End of chapter 16. One sec, what are you doing? Yeah, this music totally fits here. Yeah. Alright. Oh yeah. Fetch. Feck. Why did I say fetch? I hate that word. I don't like that word. What is going on? Okay. I meant to say feck. Okay, hydration real quick. There we go. So you don't have to listen to me screw and unscrew my bottle and drinking the water inside of it. Remember to hydrate, by the way. Yeah. Poor Winter. Alright. Chapter 17. A trio of red and orange dragons flew overhead, the wind from their wings sending ripples across the river to wash up on the shore near Winter's talons. Hailstorm squinted up at the sky, as if he was thinking about following the sky wings. You just need some time, Winter said, although it sounded stupid as soon as it escaped his mouth. The longer you're a Hailstorm again, the more you'll feel like yourself. At least, he hoped that was true. He looked down at his claws and picked a piece of wet reed off one of them. How long were you like that, trapped in the body of a Skywing? I have no idea, Hailstorm answered. The Skywing patrol took me straight to Queen Scarlet, I think. And then there was a yellowy orange dragon who did something to me. Wait. He dropped his talons and frowned at them. She looked like me. How did I do that to myself? I bet pyrite is a kind of mask, Moon offered. She was still watching Kinkaju, so she didn't see so she didn't see the look of repugnance that Hailstorm shot at her, but Winter did. Not a real dragon at all. I bet the other dragon was wearing the pyrite mask when you saw her, and he or she put it on you. She looked up at Winter. Maybe it was that Nightwing, Scarlet's ally. Scarlet had a lot of confused thoughts about what he could do for her. Changing dragons into other dragons? I couldn't understand them because I had no idea this was even possible. Your Sandwing is coming back, Hailstorm said, nodding at the river where Quibbly was swooping toward them. Directions to a doctor, he said as he landed, brandishing a small scribbled map. Meerkat is going to fly ahead and tell her we're coming. He took the side of the canopy again as Moon climbed off it. Winter took the other side, checking as he did that the necklace and pouch were still securely tucked beside Kinkaju. They were the key to whatever had been done to Hailstorm. They must be Animus touched. So the Nightwing is an Animus, but Pyrite wasn't. The magic he'd felt when he touched her must have been the spell on Hailstorm. Had he felt anything like that from the Nightwing? It was hard to remember in the confusion of the fight, but he thought so. Their little group got a few odd looks as they flew through the town, but not as many as Winter would have expected. Most dragons were still asleep, and those that were up were busy getting ready for the day. The smell of bread baking and meat cooking wove through the streets, and Winter could hear the tink-tink of small hammers, the clattering of mugs, and voices calling to each other within the walls of the houses. Some kind of stringed instrument greeted the sunrise with musical scales and hints of half-played melodies. They were on the west side of the river now, originally the Sandwing side, but Winter wouldn't have been able to guess which tribe had settled here first. The structures were spread out in a haphazard, lazy way, with some gardens planted around them, some pressed up against a crowded row of other buildings. Some were magnificent towers that could have fit into any queen's palace. Others were barely more than mud huts. He saw cascading fountains and several bejeweled statues of stone dragons. He also saw a discarded bloated crocodile carcass gathering flies, and a brackish puddle with a red tint that looked like blood. Not Icewing blood, at least. Not Icewing blood, at least. Yeah, that's blue. What a strange place, Winter said to Quibbly. There's no order to it at all. Not like the Ice Kingdom, where you're ranking in your seventh... where your ranking on your 7th hatching day determined where you would be assigned to live. The highest ranked lived within the walls of the palace itself, like Winter's parents. After you turned 7, you were shifted to the adult rankings, where if you worked hard enough and moved high enough, you might be able to request a transfer closer to the center of power. Let me guess. All your igloos look exactly the same, Quibbly asked. We don't live in igloos, Winter said, looking down his nose at Quibbly. Not aristocrats, anyway. Oh, that's right, Quibbly said. Didn't you say you're related to someone important? Very funny, Winter said. Yes, Hailstorm interjected at the same time, a little too loudly. We're Queen Glacier's nephews. Everyone knows that. He lifted his chin and regarded a pair of passing Sandwings with enormous disdain. To his credit, Quibbly managed not to laugh, although Winter was glad that Hailstorm didn't notice the mischievous glint in the Sandwing's eyes. So, your naughty glues don't look like this? Quibbly asked. Our cities are all very carefully planned, Winter explained. It's always clear where the power and the wealth is, and who has it, and who can influence it. Hailstorm was nodding, which Winter found reassuring. Maybe his Icewing memories were taking over. Order and clarity are built into our architecture, Winter said. The only thing that seems to be built into the architecture here is absurdity. I love it, Quibbly inhaled deeply. It smells like freedom. Freedom to be whoever you want to be. Not who someone tells you you have to be. It smells like rotting water buffalo, Winter said. He couldn't help but notice the way Moon was looking at Quibbly, as if what he said made more sound than what Winter had said. Was that what she wanted? Freedom at the expense of order? Didn't everyone want to know where they fit into the world? A few young dragonettes burst past them, laughing. 2 skywings, 2 sandwings, and a mudwing, and veered toward a bigger building with pictures of tumbling acrobatic dragons painted on the side. Does Sunny know about this place? Moon asked quickly, her eyes on the group of dragonettes. It seems like her dream come true. Well, it's not quite as utopian as that, Quibbly said. He pointed to an alley where someone had scrawled, Desert Munchers Go Home, in red paint. A few doors down, a mudwing sat on a corner with one leg wrapped in bandages and his wings drooping. A hollow coconut shell, half shell, sat next to him, into which someone had dropped a pitiful couple of fried grasshoppers. But it's the right idea, Moon said. Dragons from different tribes living together and getting along, for the most part. That's true, and Sunny does know about that. Does know about it, Quibbly said, checking his map. But I don't think she's been here yet. Look, that's the house. He nodded at a compact structure with walls of whitewashed bricks and a roof of dried reeds. A small green flag stuck out of the wall by the door, with the word Doctor neatly printed on it. A young, handsome sandwing came bustling out the door as they approached, and reached for Winter's side of the stretcher. Hello, I'm Meerkat, he said with a friendly nod. Wait out here. We're staying with Kinkaju, Winter insisted. The sandwing shook his head. Sorry, there's not enough room in there for 7 dragons. My fly is very strict about her space. Extra visitors can wait in the garden. He pointed to the back of the house, where a riot of greenery was trying to vault over the roof. Mayfly, Winter said. He kept his grip on the canopy, his claws tingling suspiciously. Your doctor's a mudwing. The best impossibility, said Meerkat. Winter would not have thought there were any mudwings smart enough to be doctors, let alone the best in town. Maybe there wasn't much competition. Or maybe this was the wrong place to bring Kinkaju. One of you can come in with her, Meerkat said. He reached out again, and this time Winter relinquished his grasp. What choice did they have? Where else could they take her? But he reached in and fished out the Animus Touch pouch first. He wasn't letting magic like that out of his sight. Quibbly opened his wings to let Moon take the stretcher off from him, and she disappeared into the house with the Meerkat and the unconscious dragonette. What? Wait, I'm still alive, right? Something just... My Firefox just crashed and now I can't see anything on... What the feck? Okay, what? Okay, this is weird. Like, you can still see me, right? But it's just... What? Okay. Like, I legit... What is going on? Okay, I'm going to try and close Streamlabs. I don't know if it'll close the stream, though. Because this is getting weird.